So let's go back to the start, and when you got involved. I mean, that timeline is just insane. I mean, many of the people in the on the call here. I mean, certainly my experience working in banks, I've never seen a project. I mean, this is a whole bank that's been delivered in 2 years, effectively.
Yeah.
And to think about that with a traditional hat, it's just not feasible.
Yeah.
It's sometimes difficult to make fairly minor changes because of the technical debt a lot of organizations have got. How have you been able to do so much in such a short space of time? I mean, you must have just funded this through the hilt. This must be hundreds of millions going into this.
Yeah, I mean, that's what people would think. So I think the short answer is no. It's cost us very little, literally less than $5 million to build an entire bank, with very strong compliance controls, fantastic systems infrastructure, and real room for growth to the millions of customers. So that for me is the most astounding. Those kind of budgets within the big banks that I've worked for would have delivered very little and would have taken years to deliver something. We've been able, with a small team starting out with 5 or 6 people, now sitting at 24, have been able to build and run a full bank with a customer service team, with a full compliance team, with strong finance, marketing, and of course lots of data scientists and a very strong front end, back end software engineering team. So how did it all happen, and why is it that neobanks are able to do this? Well, I think first of all, it's got a lot to do with the culture of these organizations. You look at the founders of Envil. They're 2 super purpose-driven individuals. They met while they were studying at Harvard. They sort of quantified this idea. Quite quickly got early funding from MIT, which is pretty cool. So MIT put the original funding in to build out the concept, and that's kind of at the point when I met them. Steve and I were both guest speakers at a conference in London, and I really liked what he had to say, and he liked what I had to say, and that was the beginning of how I got involved. But I think the reality is the fact that you have very flat structures, no politics. You can make all the decisions instantly, allows you to do a lot. I think the second thing is technology's come such a long way now that we're not building off old mainframes, we're not integrating into old mainframes. Everything's state of the art in the cloud, and so just executing with the best technology that's available is so much easier than it is and would be for a big bank. And I think that's why we've been able to do what we've been able to do. I think the other thing, and it's the thing that struck me the most, particularly with the previous roles I had at Barclays and ABSA and Standard, in the leadership of those banks, you were a million miles from the customer. You thought you understood it, and you got lots of market research reports, and you got lots of data points. But none of those people were sitting on call centers listening to customer complaints. There was very little customer interaction, actually. And so we were a million miles away pushing product, chasing budgets, trying to make our quarterly targets. Whereas in the world of fintech, it's all about engaging customers. I mean, every single one of our team talks to customers all the time. For a period earlier this year, I was head of attrition. So any customer that wanted to close their account came through to me, and I personally responded to them, and had a very good response rate that they said, okay, well then I'll stay with you if that's what you guys are planning. But it put me in the firing line front and center. Wow, this isn't a great feature we've got. We haven't got those kind of features. So I think what's happened in the big banks is there are just so many layers, so many silos, and so much old technology. It's literally culturally impossible to deliver what these new neobanks or challenger banks are able to do today.